year.
9.2.
9.2 is our 9th annual Justice Serve 2.0.
Yes.
And we did that because we couldn't do the 10th annual with the.
We had spectacular things planned.
We did. We were doing fireworks inside the Havener Center, and no, we weren't. We weren't doing that. But you know, we had all kinds of. It would have felt that way though. That would have been. It would have been fantastic. Like, yeah.
The police came last year, so maybe
they
the
did
fire
for
department.
CASA, not for. They didn't come for Justice Served.
That's right. They came for Give CASA.
Yeah, we don't have the police. Yeah, Justice Served is the judges coming, not the police coming. Yeah, so anyway, we are. I'm the executive director with CASA of South Central Missouri. This is Paula DeLong. She's our deputy director, and so we run the organization here over our 4 counties: Marys, Phelps, Pulaski, and Texas. And what we do is CASA, which stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. We serve the children who are abused and neglected in the foster care system. And last year there were 676. And how many did we serve? 355 out of 670. So that's a little bit over half. But you know,
we were like 5th in the state with our number.
Yeah, we were right up there. So you know, we would love to be able to have people interested in coming to CASA and being part of the program. We need volunteers. I mean, obviously 355 out of 670 is just over half, but that means we have a long ways to go before we meet our mission. So if you're interested in volunteering or finding out more about our program, you can go to our website at casascmo.org. And if you just head up there, it has a button, just be able to scroll down, and you'll find a button that says volunteer, donate. You can find out training links, COVID-19 resources. We have a whole bunch there. Check it out and see what we're doing. I think it's a great opportunity to find out more about CASA.
And anyone who's hesitant about this, there's training, and we have volunteer supervisors who work with you throughout the entire process of your advocacy with a kiddo. Make a difference in a child's life, change their story, become a CASA volunteer.
And if you get the chance today and you'd like to make a contribution to CASA, I made sure to write it down on a pretty piece of paper. You can't see, can you see that? We hope so. It says Vote for Hope. So it's vote, the number 4, and then hope. And you vote that, you text that to 44321. You can sign up for monthly giving. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit.
Yes,
so I guess we have a couple of commercials, and we'll be back with Becky Smith.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Okay, welcome back. I think we're having a few technical difficulties with our video or our commercials, but that's all right. So we're going to keep on going. We have Becky Smith here. Good morning, Becky.
Good morning, Becky.
Oh, she's connecting by audio. So, okay, now good morning, Becky.
Hey, sorry about that. I was actually trying to find you guys on Facebook on my other screen over here.
Oh, no, I'm not positive if it's working or not. Whatever we do, if nothing else, we'll put it on in a little bit whenever we get the chance to. So it's good technical difficulties, but it looks like it's running well on our end.
It wouldn't be a show for us if we didn't have some technical difficulties.
You know, how can we kick off 2 days, the 2 days that we're kicking off, without having some sort of technical difficulty?
Agreed. So, Becky, tell us, I wanted to welcome you to our show. It's the Justice Served Before the Show. But we wanted to hear, what is your role at CASA? Why do you support CASA? Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, my name is Becky Smith, and I am the very honored to be the president of the board of directors of CASA of South Central Missouri. I've been on the board since 2014, I believe. I actually started my journey with CASA as a CASA volunteer in 2012 and had a case, and then decided after that case to transition to the board. And and at some point, just so we're all clear, at some point I do want to get back and actually be a volunteer again too. And I will tell you 100%, this organization impacts lives. And it is literally, my time as a volunteer is one of the things that, despite all of the things that I've done with church and American Cancer Society and the theater, it is literally the thing that has impacted the most, had the most impact, left the longest lasting effect. It was an amazing, amazing time. And then not just, I think, for the impact that it has on kids, but the things that I learned too. And I know that this organization makes changes in lives and makes changes in our community, and that's why I'm committed to it.
Thank you. And when I found out, because I was brought on board after you had already stepped into the role of presidency, and I found out that you'd started as a volunteer, I was like, oh, she has to come back. So for you to say, yes, you're going to come back and take the case, thank you very much, because our kiddos need voices in the courtroom.
Yeah, at some point I really do want to do that.
Well, I'm holding you to that, number one. And number two, I want to hear two things. My first question is, do you remember your first justices served?
Kind of. I'm not a morning person in any way, shape, or form, so my memories of anything before 9 o'clock are always a little fuzzy. But yes, I believe I do. So it's like that. I believe I do.
She thought you were going to do something embarrassing.
I remember that. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
Here, I'll ask you a better question, easier question. So that we have at 7:30, which may be live now in 30 minutes, or we may be watching this live, so it'll be the video that they can go see. So whichever way, we're just gonna roll with this. It's the past, present. It's like Dickens' Christmas Carol. So it's the past, future, present, whatever. The question was the video that we are going to be premiering at 7:30 this morning. Theory, yeah. We are going to be premiering it. It goes live at 7:30. So
okay.
You and your family took part in this video. How was that? What was that like?
I owe them big now as a result of their performance, for sure. But in all honesty, it was a lot of fun for us to do that, and for us to share as a family some of the things that we do, you know, with CASA. And I don't know, I just like having those two around, and I appreciated their help. But it was a lot of fun, and I think when I actually saw the whole video, because, you know, I've gotten a sneak peek, I do think that it really gets to the heart of what we do at CASA, and it is 100% worth the time to watch that thing in its entirety, because there's such good information there from the judges and our volunteers. And that is something that I will say about Justices Served and kind of historical ones. And the first one that I did is that I really found it remarkable that all of the judges in the circuit come that early in the morning. They don those, you know, aprons and serve food. And I think that that also tells exactly how much the judges appreciate some of the things that we do. And I don't think everybody always understands that these judges are making decisions about these kids' lives. And that is so hard. I can't imagine being in that situation. And so I understand why they too find CASA very, very informative. And it also just hit me that at my first CASA Justices Served was the first time I heard Judge Mary Sheffield talk about her experience and why she brought CASA to the 25th Circuit. which incidentally is an amazing, amazing story that tells a lot about the organization.
Well, Becky's just see, you get her going, and then the
Yes.
memory starts going. Some
Just gotta
percolating
wake up a
coffee.
little.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Totally all right. Okay, so we've talked about CASA and why you support CASA, what your role is, and justice is served. So, what can people do? Like, we've talked a little bit. We haven't talked much about it. We haven't got into the weeds yet. What can people do to support CASA? In your opinion, what can the regular individuals, just like you and I, out there working every day, how can they support CASA in their everyday life?
Well, I'm going to tell you, if anybody at all is interested, being an actual volunteer advocate is an amazing experience. I did it when I was working. I had a wonderful employer who worked with me. So it doesn't have to be somebody who's retired or not working. If you have an employer that supports community service, you can make it work. You absolutely can. And it is so gratifying. So that's the first way. Also, if you're not comfortable doing that, or if you need more information, we also have lots of other volunteer opportunities around the office that we can use you for here and there. But more importantly, we're looking for monthly donors, folks who can set up to commit to give to the organization every month. Come straight out of your bank account. We can either do it, or you can set it up on your bank's bill pay. That's a huge way. Financial donations, obviously. And we're always looking for anybody who wants to be involved in any way, shape, or form, even potentially on board committees or on our board of directors. Those are areas where we're also, looking for folks from time to time.
Well, Becky, thank you so much. We're going to throw it back to the control room because we have Corey. I want to say thank you before I forget. Corey Crum is in the back at the control room right now, furiously trying to figure all these things out, making sure that the commercials work, making sure that anybody who's in the waiting room gets to make sure that they have their snacks. I hope Corey's getting snacks for people because, I don't know if Becky, did you have good snacks for in the waiting room?
I got to the waiting room kind of late this morning due to my, morning person kind of status. So
you look gorgeous for the morning segment, though.
Yes, you do. And our next guest is Missouri CASA Association, Brock Whistler, as you also know Brock.
Oh, Brock's on, great.
So once I was in the waiting room for one of the board meetings for Missouri CASA Association, and I told them I wanted Skittles. I'm like, if I'm gonna be in a waiting room, make Skittles. So they said, ha. 2 days later, what comes in the mail? Some Skittles.
That's so Brock.
Yeah, I know, right? But you're not getting Skittles. We are not going to be spending money on the Skittles, so sorry. I could send it out of my own pocket, but I'm just not that nice. And it's the morning, so boo. So
in an odd twist of events, I'm literally the only one in the house who's up at this moment. So I'm probably going to head out for some snacks and surprise the fam when they wake up with something to eat.
Sounds good.
Because you owe them.
I do owe them.
Well, Becky, thank you so much. I just realized we need to get to commercial break,
yes.
So we're going to head over to the kitchen, or over to the other side of the kitchen. Get ready for Brock. So
have a great day, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, Becky.
To get a closer look at the world, you have to go beyond the surface. Because the things that are worth exploring don't happen on the ground level.
They go deeper.
And span wider than most people dare to consider.
But we're not most people.
And we don't see things the way most people do.
We uncover big ideas by looking in the unexplored spaces.
We find new understanding by jumping headlong into the unknown.
And wherever we focus our attention, we go all in.
We pursue big questions because we're curious.
We are different notes on the same page.
We put in the hard work because we're ambitious.
We look in new directions because we're inventive.
And we dig deeper because we are miners. And that's just what we do.
Welcome back to Good Morning CASA. It is our Cooking with CASA segment, and we have a special guest today.
It's not going to be like the cookies last year, right?
It's going to be exactly like the cookies last year. So, yeah.
We have to apologize to our guests.
Yeah, we apologize in advance, especially our special guest, who is here all the way from Columbia, Missouri. None other than our previous recruitment and coordinator person and assistant director, Brock Whistler.
Hey, Brock.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here.
Good morning.
I'm great. I'm kind of glad it's not raining.
It's not raining here, maybe, or maybe not. We don't know because we're inside the kitchen and we're not looking. So
that's true. Yeah, I'm looking out windows.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. But we're doing our cooking segment based on a recipe that you sent us, which we now understand you don't have on you right now. So we're going to wing this together. And so, yay for us.
Throw stuff in and cook it. It'll be fine.
Okay.
We're going to try. So first of all, before we get started, let me tell everybody what we're making. We're making breakfast street tacos, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to have the recipe on our website and on Facebook so they can go and check that out so they can do this themselves. They'll have the recipe in front of them so they can do it. I will tell you that we've got a pound of ground beef breakfast ground breakfast sausage, 4 to 6 eggs, bell pepper, yellow or white onion, vegetable oil, taco spices, avocado, 1 to 2 limes, corn tortillas or street flour tortillas, a sprig of cilantro, and some optional things such as the 1 diced sweet potato, and hot sauce or sriracha to taste. That sound right?
Sounds good. Sounds right.
Okay, then we're going to go ahead and get started. We got diced up the onions and the peppers, and so Paula's going to dice up the sweet potatoes, and we've got those ready. She's got the knife, so she's going to start doing that, and then I'm going to start heating the skillet, medium high heat to get that sausage browning. So while we're doing that, will you tell us what you are doing at the Missouri CASA Association, what the Missouri CASA Association does for all the CASAs?
Sure. Missouri CASA Association is the state association for CASA in Missouri. We provide resources and technical assistance and all kinds of things for our local programs. We are trying to put out a state license plate right now. If you've ever seen a specialty license plate, we are in the process of getting one made. So we're really, really excited about that. Stay tuned for 2021. You can actually sign up to be a recipient of that license plate at mocasa.org/plates. So that's one really cool thing we're doing right now. Generally, what we want to do is we want to provide support. We want to provide assistance. We want to be that lending hand to our local programs. We have 23 local CASA programs in Missouri, and as we all know, you're the ones doing the work. You're the ones who are the rock stars. And our hope is that we can help you and empower you to not only have the best possible staff that you can have, but also so that empowerment can go all the way down to the volunteers and then down to the children we're advocating for. It's our mission at MoCASA to support and to grow local CASA programs around the state and to lead advocacy efforts for these neglected children in Missouri. And of course, we're talking about children in foster care. We have a lot of kiddos in care every year in Missouri. It is near 20,000. Just a lot of kids in the state, we're serving just over 5,000 of them, and we want to serve more. So yeah.
Now you said we had 23 programs statewide. Now how many are there? Does cover all the counties? Are we half and half? What are you looking at right there?
So we cover, of course you would ask me a county question. We cover 25 of the 46 judicial circuits. And so I'm not exactly sure how many. I've counted those counties before, but I don't have it off the top of my head. I would say as far as the population of the counties are concerned, we're actually serving about, I'm trying to think of a number here. Probably more, about 2/3. We'll call it about 2/3 of the area, not the children, but of the area in Missouri, mainly because we have.
If they go to the MoCASA website, they can look and see a map of all the ones that the counties that are covered currently by CASAs. Yeah. So if they happen to be watching this morning from someplace outside of our circuit, outside of South Central Circuit, which is the 25th, and they're in a different circuit that doesn't have a CASA, they can contact you to inquire about how they can go about getting a CASA started in their community, correct?
Yes. So yeah, on our website, again, it's mocasa.org. If you go to our website, you can actually go to a page that says start a local CASA program. And on that page is an infographic about what it looks like to start a program. And mainly if you're interested and you don't have a program in your area, you just need to email info@mocasa.org.
Thank you. Okay, now we're in the middle of now browning. So I brown and I throw in some Cajun spices. And I know you like stuff a lot, so I'm just gonna keep pouring it in there. So that's like a half a bottle, right? So you do that, and then it says that you let's see. I brown the sausage with the spices. When browned, remove from the pan. Do not drain and add a few tablespoons of oil. So I'm moving this from the pan into a bowl.
Yeah, whatever you've got, so that you can do the veggies next, the other veggies.
Okay, so I do that. Put a couple tablespoons of oil. I keep the heat the same.
Yes.
Okay, and you said water or oil? Because now I'm not sure.
Oil.
Yeah, oil.
Oil and water doesn't mix.
A couple tablespoons. Just eyeball it.
Okay, so we put we've got the oil in there.
Did you
We put
measure
the
that?
potatoes, right? It just said it said a few tablespoons of oil, so I put a few tablespoons down.
Oh, because you got this internal thing.
Are you ready?
No, I'm just chopping.
Chop it, you're done. We're gonna say these are chopped potatoes, so we're gonna put those in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be fun. So once we get the potatoes in there and they brown some and I add some water to the oil and the potatoes.
That just helps them cook a little faster if you add some water and put a lid on, because then you'll steam those potatoes.
Water.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then we'll get the water, put that in there. When do we put the, it says remove the potatoes when tender. So then we're gonna add more oil to it. After we put the water in the potatoes, we move those out. Then we're gonna put more oil with the peppers and the onions.
Yes.
Okay.
Or when the potatoes are close, just throw them in with the potatoes and put a little more oil in there. That'll work too.
We don't have to worry about the water. We can just put the potatoes with the onions and peppers.
Yeah. Drop everything. And see, that's the great thing about cooking is there's no set rules usually. Sometimes there are.
I like that. That makes me happy. Okay. So
It is a pretty color, I will tell you.
it is. If you can see this, I'll bring it over to you. So there we go. Is that looking good?
It looks right to me.
Okay, good. Okay, we're gonna put that back on there. So once we get those are tender, right? Tender. We're gonna put a lid on it, let them set for a little bit.
Yep, you can put a lid on it. You can go ahead and add that meat back in. It's whatever you want to do, and then get a lid on, because then you're going to want to heat up your tortillas for your street tacos.
Okay, well, we're going to put the meat on there like so, and we mix the meat in, right?
Yep.
Mix it all together. Okay, the street tacos, we just put that little bit of tablespoon. I'm just going to throw it in the same thing that I left the meat in. Well, I mean, the meat's already out of that one, but I'm just throwing it there. And you said 1 minute on each side?
Yep. If you're on medium high, it'll take probably just under a minute for each side.
Okay, so we're going to do that. And then how about the eggs? When do I put the eggs in?
Make sure that your pan with everything else is hot. And I think you're froze, actually. There you are.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I saw you freeze too.
Okay, so the eggs.
Yeah, in the pan that you have all the other stuff in, you'll kind of want to make a little bit of a well in the middle, maybe with just a little bit of oil, and then just make sure that you get those eggs in there, scramble them up, and then everything just mixes together.
Okay, so once we do that, then the tortillas that we've got that we're just warming up on both sides, then we can put those on the middle, and we're going to call it good, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, this wasn't really bad. So when you're done, then you take a lime, spread it on top, throw a little cilantro on it, and you call it good?
Yeah, and if you want, you can also add some cheese and avocado.
Oh yeah, I've got the cheese. The avocado has wandered off to the reservation. And the jalapeno, we did manage to pick that up. What are we supposed to do with it? I mean, I guess we could just eat it. It
would actually go in with the other peppers. So but that's okay.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm not gonna eat it raw. That'll be good. So, okay, Brock, thank you so much for being part of our show this morning. Thanks for all that the Missouri CASA Association does for us. We thank you for helping us. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow sometime when we do give CASA. Then check us out in about, I don't know, 30, 35 minutes, and you can watch Justice Served live at 7:30 this morning.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you all so much. It's been fun.
Brock, thank you.
This has been fun.
Have a good one. We'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
So I hope that we can, I don't know what's happening. I feel like it's just shut down.
You told her to do a hard stop. It's because we're not doing Zoom, I don't think.
Face is so huge. Oh, it does say it. Go back. See if we come back. Here we go.
I think we're having some technical difficulties.
I'm not positive what's happening.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. We're hopefully here.
You know that skit you wrote for Festival of Trees based on the Dickens Christmas Carol? Past,
Yeah,
future,
yeah.
present. I think this is just like we threw that in the bag and shook it up, and you don't know what you're going to get when you pull something out.
I agree. I have no clue what's happening.
I don't know if we're in the present, the past, or the future.
We're not positive we're alive. We're not positive we're, well, we're not, we know we're not dead.
We're not dead.
We're not dead, but we never to be live. But we do know that even if we're not live, what we can do is hopefully we are able to get this recorded.
Yes.
So we'll hopefully we'll post this onto our
So it'll
Facebook,
be
social media. It'll be the before the show, after the show. Yeah. So basically, it is like the Super Bowl for CASA, except we are doing it beforehand, but making sure you get to see it afterwards because. I mean, the information, there it is. I see that we're live. I see it.
Oh, we are live.
Whoa,
oh,
welcome.
Welcome.
So,
good morning.
We have been going for 30 minutes. I don't know where you've been. So, welcome to the West Coast, because that's what we're doing. Yeah, you know, hey, it's like the Today
Mountain
Show,
time.
except not. That's Mountain Time. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
Mountain Time.
Mountain
Welcome,
time.
Denver. Good morning, Denver.
Hello,
We're glad to have you.
Montana.
I'm Matthew Evans. I'm the Executive Director for CASA of South Central Missouri. Paula DeLong, she is the Deputy Director. We've been going for 30 minutes. We have had some great information. We had Cooking with Brock. So what we're going to do is, whenever we're done, we'll hope to goodness and pray to God that this got recorded and that we can just pop this on and we'll show it on our Facebook feed. And so you'll be able to watch the first 30 minutes of the before the show, after the show. And then the last 30 minutes, which is now, which is the great part, because you get to hear from Dr. Janice Martin, you get to hear from Judge Hedrick. So, I mean,
That's not to say Becky and Brock, we don't appreciate.
That's to Becky and Brock, thank you. But
Becky and
frankly,
she's better later in the morning.
Grab that.
We have food.
We do. So we had a cooking segment, so we'll let you see what the final product was. So
it's the magic of television.
Yeah, it is magic of television. Here we go. We're gonna try it. This is Brock's breakfast street tacos. So this is, you know, I am not the best cook. Let's just be real. I'm not a cook at all.
No, we're not.
So you are, I'm not. But okay, so I didn't do that well. So let's see.
Ooh, mine's falling apart. Okay.
Just take a look at that coffee. Goodness, we have to help each other. It's like we're just with breakfast street tacos. This is good. That's good. It turned out
I'm
well.
not a sweet potato person, but that's good.
Sweet potatoes, there were bell peppers, onions. What else did we just do? Eggs and sausage.
And
so,
some hot
and a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah,
but it's not too hot.
Had that half a bottle of Cajun seasoning.
So
anyway,
check out the recipe and
so
make it for your family.
What we're here to do is we were talking about Justice is Served, which is our Justice is Served event, which usually for the last 9 years, we've actually had judges who serve breakfast to all of our attendees. This year we couldn't do that because of all things COVID, but we are trying a 100% virtual event this year.
And
which
as
is
you can
different.
tell already, we had a little trouble, but
We
that's
have
okay.
glitches but we are preparing because this is not a sprint. This is a marathon for us.
It is a
Because
marathon.
justice has served as today, and what we were supposed to talk about during this segment, if I'm correct, was some. We had a video, which I'm going to share a video on our Facebook page later on this morning. It's about fostering futures, and it's something we're focusing on this month.
It's engaging
with our
older
training.
youth.
So yeah, we have a lot of older youth who are in foster care who don't necessarily always the ones that volunteers first think of when they want to think. You think I want to advocate for a child. You always think, at least I think, a lot of people think children, younger kids, babies, 3 or 4 year olds. But no, it's actually, we can go back and we can look at the numbers. And we have a lot of older youth who are in
And the
foster
reality
care.
is the older youth population is the most at-risk population because they're leaving foster care and they may not be ready for adulthood. And the statistics of the failure rate for these kids, and when I say failure, I'm talking about maybe early pregnancies, early fatherhood, talking about homelessness, addiction, incarceration, and the ultimate statistics are showing us these kids die within 2 years if they are not ready for their future. So there's no bouncing back from death. So please consider being a volunteer and taking on an older youth to help them be ready for adulthood.
And if you want to see what it might be like, some of the things that might be of interest to you, especially for older youth, check it out. Go to our website, CASA.scml.org, and you can click on our training link. In the month of July, we have older youth resources. We have a Fostering Futures training program, which is put on by our national program and incorporated into ours. So there's lots of stuff there, chock full of information for you. The other thing is we did want to make sure, we've talked about this in our first 30 minutes, but we're going to talk about it again because maybe you didn't catch it because you're on the mountain time. Right?
Yes, mountain time.
Oh, and John Denver just popped in my head. So I guess that's the wrong Rocky Mountain. Okay, that's Rocky Mountain High. I was thinking Country Road, then I was confused. Thinking I was in Appalachia, West Virginia. So anyway, one of the things is for Justice Served. It was one of our fundraisers for the year, and one way you can do it that we've got that's new this year is you can text to give. Go ahead and show it. If you can see that, it says Vote for Hope. So it's vote, the number 4, Hope, and you can text that to 44321. If you go on there,
44321.
just do it on your little smartphone like this, push send, and then it will come with the link. You click that, and then you can give. You can give $27 a month. If 4 people do that, that will help us provide service for 1 more child, and that's recruitment, so training and support for a volunteer who can make sure to advocate for that child or be able to mentor a youth that's going to be coming out of care. So I know that it's time for us to go to our next commercial. We have commercials, so I'm going to pause for a second, let that go, and then hopefully we'll have Dr. Janice Martin shortly with us. If not, we'll just keep talking.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
At Phelps Health, we're here to care for you. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused us all to change our daily routines. But one thing that hasn't changed is that we are open, safe, and ready to serve you and your family with all of your healthcare needs. Telehealth visits are a convenient, secure, and confidential way for you to visit remotely with your provider. With telehealth, you can stay safe at home and keep up to date with your personalized healthcare plans. Don't delay your care. Call your Phelps Health Provider's office to find out more information and schedule a telehealth visit today.
Oh, we're back. Hello. So I think we're not sure if Janice is there, so we're going to find out shortly. This is the best part about this.
And Dr. Janice Martin, we can give a little intro.
Oh no, here she comes. Here she goes. I can see her. I can see her face.
Janice.
I can see her face, and now I can hear you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Janice, you always look so beautiful on camera. You should have gone into to Hollywood and been a star. Well, you are a star. You're a star for us.
My gracious, what a nice way to start my day, Paula. Thank you so much. I appreciate
you are
that.
gorgeous, always, inside and out.
Well, the best part about it, she just wakes up like that.
I know.
I do.
It's magic.
I wish you could tell me that at 5:30.
Well, Janice, thank you for joining us this morning. You're our first person who is on live with us after Mountain Time, and so our first 30 minutes were Eastern time, so our Eastern time friends got to watch that. And so now it's Mountain time. So you're our first live guest this morning for those folks in Denver. So we were hoping that maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you do with CASA, how long you've been with CASA, and then we'll keep on going.
Well, I've been with CASA for 9 years. This will have actually been my 8th JIS, Justice to Serve Breakfast. We were hoping that this year it was going to be our 10th anniversary JIS, but of course, due to COVID-19, that did not work out. So we're all together this morning trying our hand at doing a virtual fundraiser. And so this is a first, I think, for everyone, and I'm hoping that it goes very well, because during this time, of course, we've been stressed to the max about the money situation to make sure that our children still have volunteers there with them via teleconferencing, via phone, whatever we could, be, of course, not being able to meet with them in person. And of course, we haven't been able to be in court with them in person because there hasn't been a lot of court dates that have gone through. So in this time of trials, we need to join together and make this as successful as we possibly can. I hope that all of these efforts today will help us maintain and go on forward with our efforts in maintaining our relationship with the volunteers and our CASA children.
I'm going to keep talking after run for a second, so just keep talking. Sorry, we'll be right back, Janice.
And Janice, you are so correct. The challenge has been with the parameters of safety for everyone's health. We've had to do things a different way. Instead of doing those monthly in-home visits, we're doing those telepresence, phone calls, writing cards and letters, which some of our young children are like, I got mail? Really? Mail? That's odd. But maintaining that relationship and being able to understand what's still going on with these kids. But the bigger worry that we all have, those kids that we haven't been able to identify that may be in some form of child abuse and neglect situation. And so the worry becomes when kids are back to school, kids are doing their sports again, and they're out in the community, recognizing signs and symptoms of child abuse and neglect for reporting purposes, and more kids are going to need an advocate. And so that becomes, as we've been hearing across all media change right now, the silent surge, if you will. And being able to have the funds to recruit and train and support volunteers is critical, more so than ever right now.
And thanks to our wonderful supporters in this community and the surrounding area, JIS has in the past always been our #1 fundraiser. And even this year, with all the uncertainty about whether we were even going to be able to have a JIS, our supporters have continued to send us money for this celebration, for this fundraiser. And we have collected about half as much as we did last year. So that's a good thing. But of course, we would like for today to maybe put us up to where we were last year or close to it and help us meet our goal for this year under the circumstances. So we're going to continue to hopefully receive some additional funds over today and over the next week. I know Matthew has sent out several letters and asking for support, continued support in this endeavor. We are hopeful that we can take these funds and continue offering services to the point where, Paula, you have mentioned that when things do possibly go back to normal and we do have normal reporting, unfortunately, we're going to see an increase in the number of children who are going to be coming into foster care. And we need to be prepared and ready to have a lot of new recruited volunteers, which we're still doing on a daily basis in order to meet those needs and provide enough trained volunteers to help support those children through their endeavors in the court system.
Definitely.
Well, I know that we have to run, but I had to walk away for a second so I could show a couple of signs, because apparently there's a possibility you can't hear us on live. You can just see us.
Oh, dear.
So we're having technical difficulties.
We are being recorded.
And if there is no sound, we will post with sound when finished. I don't know why I'm reading that, like they can hear me talk slowly. So let's just also say, because Janice, this person, whichever one, she just said we need to raise money. So vote for hope. Text it to 44321. Okay, so text it, use this.
Text.
So Janice, thank you for being with us. It's been a fun morning, and thanks for getting up early. If you said 5:30, I think you just wake up like this. So you're always fantastic. You're magnificent. It's always a pleasure to work with you and talk to you. So stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, I'm headed off to the office. Talk to you guys later.
Right,
thanks,
bye. Bye-bye. Oh, here we are.
Okay. So
Janice is such a beautiful person, inside and out.
she really is. I think she's fantastic. So, that's what we got. So we're just going to keep going, because forget the commercials. We're just going to keep on going through, because we have, hopefully, Judge Hedrick will be coming up next, but we want to do an introduction first. So let's tell you about, like we had mentioned, good morning, Judge Hedrick. Oh, you're not in audio yet. We're getting there.
Judge Hedrick is our presiding judge in juvenile court in our Pulaski County.
Yes, he is in Pulaski County. He is at the courthouse there and works with all CASAs that are working cases in Pulaski County. I think we have audio now. Can you hear us, Judge?
So I can hear you.
Oh, yes,
yes.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Oh.
We've been having technical difficulties all morning, so if we talk over you, I'm sorry in advance. We'll try to give you as much floor as possible. So thank you for joining us. Okay. We'll try to do it this way, because it'll be the easiest. Judge, if you'll tell us about what you do and what the role for the court system is in the lives of abused and neglected children in foster care, and then also what your feelings about CASA. You've got time, just take all the time you want and just start talking. We'll go with that.
Okay. For one, CASA, the role that CASA plays is that we put them in cases where we have difficulty with placements, where the children's situation is probably the most difficult. And that way we get like a one-on-one, more of a one-on-one attention, as opposed to the guardian ad litem who's got every child that's in the county, or in our case, Laura's got 2 counties and Mark's got 2 counties. And it gives the children a more of a one-on-one experience to try to get what their feelings are, in a clearer picture, I think, of a particular situation, especially one where a child's been in the system for very long, and maybe they don't have the family resources, extended family resources that some children are fortunate to have when they've been removed from their parents. And so it gives the entire team, whether it's children's division, even the parents, attorneys, and the juvenile office, information that we may not necessarily get. As far as the other question, I think, was what just our experience in general with the juvenile cases. Was that correct, Matt?
Yes.
Okay. Honestly, I think things have kind of leveled off a little bit. That's been my feeling. I think when I first came on the bench over 5 years ago, I think there was an escalation in cases. It seemed like we're growing all the time, and for whatever reason, I think maybe I'm not going to say meth and heroin were 90% of the cases. They were. I mean, there was some element of that involved the kids that were being taken in, whether it's because they were being exposed as infants at birth, or whether or not the parents had a drug addiction problems, and maybe clean up for a while, and then they would relapse and kind of go back and forth. It seems like that we're having more success with some parents. And that's just my feeling. I don't have any statistics to back that up. CASA, I'm sure, has played a role in that. There's been a number of factors. We got a very good team in this circuit. That's circuit wide. It's not just Pulaski County, but I know what the team looks like in Phelps and the other in Texas and Marys counties as well. And truthfully, it just seems from my just viewpoint, I guess, nothing else, that it seems like things have seemed to have gotten at least leveled off. If not better, they've at least leveled off, which I think is a positive, and it's a good thing for all of our communities, especially for the kids.
Do you find with a CASA on the case, do you find that their viewpoints are, do you listen to their viewpoints, and do you listen to the recommendations? Is it effective? Is it an effective tool in your toolbox when it comes to looking at a case?
Absolutely. And one thing, back when we used to be able to have our forums on your last class with your CASA workers, one thing I would really stress to them is to file your reports, a couple of days in advance and give me a chance to read them. And I read all the reports. I read the entire file, including the children's division, the caseworkers reports. I read whatever the parents have put in, the juvenile office, the guardian ad litem. If there's something that's new in the file, I want to read it before court. And the reason that's helpful, I think, is because I would consider it a confrontational style with the parents. I don't hide from that. I think it probably is, but it's just my feelings are, if I'm going to take away a child from a parent, I better have some specific reasons for it. And my job is to explain that to them and make sure they understand why the child was taken away and what they have to do to get better, or to get the child returned to them. And the only way I can do that is, and have any credibility when I speak to them in those terms, is if I know what the situation is in that family. And CASA can give and does give gives those specifics about especially the child, the circumstance of the child. And that's one thing I try to stress with the parents is I understand your circumstance. I understand, that I have a job to do to try to help you reunite, but you got decisions to make. But more importantly, the circumstances of the child is going to be paramount to whatever decision and where that child's placed, and eventually who raises that child. And CASA plays that role. The guardian ad litem does too, but CASA especially, because they can sit down and give me those specifics and help me, especially addressing the parents about what the situation is and what they have to do to redress the problem.
Judge Hedrick, there is a story you tell when you talk to parents in the courtroom, because I've heard it, and you've also talked with our new CASAs, and the story is what it looked like in families years ago and the problems that were facing families and how those have changed over the years. That is a beautiful story. If you would share that with the viewers today, I really would appreciate that.
Okay, I can. It's all about having a functioning family. And there are families that function with addiction in the household. And I think what Paul is referring to is that I've actually told parents this, and I'm talking about the parents with meth and heroin addictions, that sometimes that I honestly wish we'd go back to the old days. Now, the old days were, and I'm not saying they were good, but they functioned. In the old days, in my view, what I used to see was that there may be an alcoholic in the family. One of the parents may be alcoholic. Generally, it was dad. Sometimes it was mom. I've seen those circumstances, but they could hold down a job. And you have to excuse me. I've talked too much. My voice starts going a little bit, but it can hold down a job, and you could have a sober parent that could still maintain a relationship with an alcoholic. I mean, those circumstances were out there, and those families could function. It may not be ideal, but they'd have, the lights would be on, the rent would be paid, dinner would be on the table, parents would be there in the morning when the child woke up, all those things, and they could make it work. But as things have progressed, where meth and heroin addictions become more prevalent in families, what happens is a sober person can't have a relationship with a heroin addict. They can't, just doesn't work. The sober person's going to leave. So the methamphetamine and the heroin addict, they start relationships with other methamphetamine and heroin addicts, and they end up having children. And what the problem with that is that neither one of them can hold down a job, number one. The home becomes dysfunctional. The older children start raising the younger children, and things fall apart to the point where Children's Vision and Juvenile Office has to step in. And, so I don't dictate who has relationships with who, and I tell them that. That's up to them. I can't control what relationships they have, but I make them understand that if both of you have an addiction, both of you have to clean up if you're going to stay together. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Was that what you're referring to, Paul?
Yes. When you look at parents sitting in front of you at the table and you point blank stare them in the eye and you say, I didn't want to take your kids, but you are not being good to your kids, so I took your kids, and if you want them back, you will be functioning and you will be clean. And that is a powerful moment in the courtroom. And I'm here to tell you, Matthew, there are times I look at those people when they hear that story that I can see they're taking it in, and I learn later that there's been some positive changes. Unfortunately, there have been a few that Judge Hedrick could have ripped their head off and poured it into their brain and they still wouldn't have gotten it. But the passion that you deliver that and the eloquence is just beautiful to see. And I always enjoy being in your courtroom, sir.
Well, that's nice of you to say. And I appreciate, more importantly, I appreciate what CASA does for these kids. My job is easy.
I think your job is anything but easy.
Yeah.
We greatly appreciate everything you do. I know our CASAs do. We hear it every day. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us this early morning. This will be on Facebook. We're live on Facebook right now. We're not positive we have sound, but we're going to go ahead and post it later. So
because we are
go back and watch it. Yeah, we're hopefully recording. That's our fingers crossed. So, but thank you so much for all that you do. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you both.
And hopefully next year you've got your apron on and you're serving scrambled eggs and bacon.
I'm sure we will.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Judge.
you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that was amazing. I just really enjoyed that. I always enjoy Judge Hedrick. I mean, we have the best judges. We really do. We have amazing judges in all 4 of our counties. We have Judge Rowden in Marion County, Judge Calvert here, Judge Gaston in Texas, and then Judge Hedrick in Pulaski.
I'm going to give a little spoof. Judge Calvert shows up in our Justices Served.
He has the Justices Served video, which is coming up in 4 minutes, and it'll be live on our YouTube channel it'll be premiering on our YouTube channel at 7, but there will be a link to it, 7:30, yeah, sorry, I don't know what time it is. But it will be a link to it on Facebook at 7:30 as well. So you can click on that and go straight to it. So I've got that scheduled for live at 7:29, so people can go on there. So if you can't tell what we're saying right now, hold on 2 minutes. M-I-N-U-T-E-S. Minutes. Yeah, so sorry, I was like, I don't even know how to spell minutes. That's horrible. But
I did not know you had that skill.
yeah, I can do my alphabet. I can do. So yay. So anyway, we hope that you guys have had fun. Since you haven't been able to hear us or see us for part of the event, if you go back to 6:30, which will now be 9:30 today, we will be able to find us on there. So if you listen to this and you just
I'm
heard
not
me
sure
talk,
that math works, but
we did it at 6:30, and I'm going to push it out on Facebook at 9:30. That's the math that I just did because that's when I can know we can get it finished.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to vote for Hope. Text it to 44321. We thank you so much.
321.
Have a good day, everybody.
Enjoy your day. Stay safe out there.
There we go. Okay, there we go. We're still live.
We're
I don't
still
know if
live.
we're live or not, but we're gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna walk this way.
You're
I'm gonna go.